Hi guys, welcome back. It is very cold here. It's like in the 30s today, which is so cold. I made hot chocolate to use it to warm up my hands. It's like packaged Swiss Miss hot chocolate. Let me know if you agree with me. I think that packaged hot chocolate is better than like actual proper hot chocolate where you like take chocolates and melt it down. I feel like the hot chocolate where you like make it properly and like melt down chocolate, it's too decadent. It's like too sweet and too rich, so you can only drink like 2 sips of it and then you're done. Versus like a hot chocolate from the package, you could drink like an entire cup of it. I don't have any like marshmallows or anything to put on top of my hot chocolate, so I'm sad. Anyway, so hi everyone, my name is Jen and this is Beast Has a Plan, where we talk about all things houseplant and home design. Welcome back. I have for you another episode of my series, the Houseplant Alphabet. We are almost done with the series. We are on S today. This is a series where I introduce you to my houseplants. We talk about my experience growing them and what conditions they are currently being grown in inside my home. If you haven't seen the entire series, it's in a playlist for you. I'll make sure to link the playlist right here. You can catch up on all of the previous letters. And then today we are going to talk about S is for the snake plant. I knew this plant as the Sanseviera, but it has been reclassified to Draceana, which I know is correct for like scientific-y reasons, but looking at this plant and calling it a Draceana just seems so wrong to me. So I'm just gonna call it a snake plant so that I don't have to call it a Draceana. So this variety, or this cultivar of snake plant, I believe is the Bantel Sensation. This is surprisingly the, oh actually no, I was gonna say that this is the only snake plant that I own, but that is no longer true because my brother gifted me a section of his snake plants. So I have 2 now, but this is the only one I've purchased. Look at the kind of like variegation and pattern on this one. It's so cool. So this is the Bantel Sensation. I got it off of eBay, and then when I got it, you can see that a lot of them I have to kind of cut off because when I got it, a lot of the tips were dried out. And also, ooh, I might have to cut this. It was kind of struggling with a rust issue. I don't want to touch that. Kind of struggling with like a rust issue, which can be treated with copper fungicide. Pretty sure that's a rust issue. And then also I just chopped most of the affected areas off because this is a snake plant, so I'm not too precious about it. So let's talk about this plant. This is one of those plants that's always in like, not this specific variety, but snake plants in general are always in those lists that's like perfect for beginners. And I was never really drawn to one until I saw a photo of this one and I was like, I have to have that. The other variety of snake plant that I really want is the one that's called like a sayuri, I think. It looks very similar to this one, but the leaves I believe are even skinnier and the variegation is like more like a white. But yeah, so those are really the only 2 varieties of snake plants that I've ever really kind of like sought after. But honestly, this is like one of the easiest plants ever. And so I might honestly get some more for like areas in my house where like I want to plant, but I know I'm gonna neglect. Like a lot of the plants that if they're not in this room, they get really neglected. So yeah, for lighting, this plant right now is on my dresser. So it's kind of close-ish to a Sansi grow bowl, but it's also kind of far away. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's getting like bright light. I would say it's actually getting more so towards like medium to low light, and it's actually still growing, so I think that's perfectly enough light for this plant. This plant can definitely survive lower light condition. It's obviously like no plant is going to thrive in a low light condition, but If low light is your only option, this is a great plant because it can definitely survive and still put out growth. My brother has his snake plant in a north facing window and it's doing very, very well. For watering, this is a plant that you can like you can really forget about this plant. It is so extremely drought tolerant. I only water this plant in the summertime like once every other week, and in the winter time honestly closer to like once a month or once every 3 weeks. It really does not need a lot of water at all because it stores a lot of its water inside the leaves. So that means that when I do water it, I really like thoroughly soak it all the way through to make sure that, because I'm giving it water so infrequently, that when I do water it, it's getting everything that it needs. And along the same vein with humidity, it's so easygoing. Definitely does not need any extra humidity at all. It's currently being grown in just like ambient room humidity, which is for me around 50%. I am positive though that even if you have lower humidity than that, it will just be like completely fine. For the growth pattern, I think it's actually kind of interesting how this plant grows. So it'll grow in kind of like, so this is like one section of the plant or one stem, right? So then the growth will usually come from the center and it'll put out a whole leaf. Then the leaf will start off teeny tiny and then it'll just get taller and taller and taller. And then eventually this plant will self-propagate by putting out a new section. So these four, I think there's 4 in there, or 3, is like what I got when I bought the plant. Obviously it's grown new leaves since then. Like this is obviously a new leaf because it doesn't have the tip cut off. And then it kind of self-propagated by putting out a new section completely all the way over here, which is now putting out more growth. So there's more leaves coming out. You can see here at the bottom. That section will eventually get taller and taller and taller until it's about as tall as this plant. So I think the most interesting thing about this plant though is that there are so many different ways to propagate it. So obviously a very obvious way to propagate this plant is that I can do it via division, because the plant has basically self-propagated by growing an entirely new section over here. So I can just unpot it. There will be like one kind of like, I don't think it's a tuber, but it's like a white like section that will connect, you know, this section with another section. So you just take scissors, cut in between those two, and then it'll free itself. And then you can pot this up separately, and that's a propagation. That's a very easy way to propagate because this section will also already then have roots of its own. Another way you can propagate is that you can just take sections of the leaf. You just cut right here. The only thing you have to make sure that whatever way is down right now stays down. So so see how like I cut off the tip of this plant so it's flat right here, right? So if I were to take a propagation, I could cut like right here, but I have to make sure that this section where it's down is this the way it's pointing when it's in like whatever you put it in, and not this section up here. So you can put it in water, just put it in like a teeny tiny bit of water. You only want the tiny bit at the bottom submerged. You don't really want like the whole cutting submerged. I think water is honestly the easiest way of propagating via like a leaf cutting. You can do, you know, moss or perlite, or even just stick it in soil. That's also really easy. If you want to make your pot fuller, that's a good way to do it. So just take a section. You actually do want to let this callus for a little bit. I usually do like an hour or 2, but you can definitely do overnight as well, and then just stick it back in the pot. I generally prefer to put my propagations separately, just because I feel like the watering can be a little bit different with propagations than with a fully established plant, usually because the propagation doesn't have any roots. If you have it in soil, it does need to be, you know, it does need to be watered a little bit more frequently, and that's why I prefer to do like water, just because you don't have to worry about how frequently you are watering your cuttings, because it's already in water. I have seen people grow their snake plants in LECA. I've never tried it, and I really don't see a reason to transfer this plant, just because I think it's honestly easier in soil than it would be in LECA, because in LECA I would have to do LECA maintenance on the plant versus like in soil. I've literally just completely ignored this plant basically since the day I got it. I've never really like set out to intend to fertilize this plant. I just fertilize it with whatever's left over in my watering can when I fertilize other plants. You know, it probably would grow a lot better and a lot bigger if you remember to fertilize your snake plants like once or twice in the growing season, but honestly not completely necessary, not a huge requirement. So yeah, I think that is all I have to tell you about this plant. This is honestly such an easy plant. There's really nothing for me to explain or say. You should get one. That's the conclusion of this video. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!